Good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for being here today at our top producer panel. I just want to introduce myself. I am Lisa Wayman with Corner Escrow, and I will be your co-moderator today, along with my good friend John Ruff with Ruff and Ready Moving and Storage. And if you hear him call me Wayman, he's talking to me. I don't ever think he's used my first name, so just preparing you all for that. I also want to take a few moments to introduce our real estate power team who put this event on today. We have Bill Provost with Franklin Loan Center, Celeste Ducharme with Ranch RV and Self Storage, Garen Parker with New Season Properties, your co-moderator John Ruff with Ruff and Ready Moving, myself Lisa Wayman with Corner Escrow, Lloyd Mize with Lloyd Mize Realty Group Coldwell Banker, Marianne Sharp with Lawyers Title, Richie Perez with Richie's Termite and Pest Service, Scott Peterson with Home Perfect Restoration, Tiffany Cross with Dedicated Credit Repair, and last but not least, our friend Trish Duarte with Made Pro Temecula. So again, thank you guys all for being here. We will move forward to our guest panelists today. We could not be more grateful for you four to join us today. We're going to get a lot of great information from you guys, so stay tuned for those questions. And I will start off by introducing everybody. We have Sarah Drago with United One Realty, Nicole Farnham with Exit Alliance Realty, Dylan Hall with Balloon Brokerage, and we have Catherine Matrio. I'm sorry, I should have asked before.
Materiali.
Thank you, John. Well done.
Yeah, that's impressive. Okay, John with his Italian. With ERA Donahue Realty. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. And we're just going to jump right in. Today, we're going to ask these four panelists how they kind of survived the 2020 market. We all know it was crazy. We're all very blessed with a very busy real estate market, but it was very different. We had stay-at-home orders, we had virtual open houses and all that jazz. So there was a lot of changes. So we're just going to jump right in with some questions. I don't think there's a specific order we're going to go in. I'm going to have John start us off with the first question, but for our four panelists, if you guys just want to jump in when you're ready, if you have something you want to say, just jump in and answer those questions for us. So John, you want to start us off with the first question for our panelists today?
Yeah, thank you everybody for coming, and thank you for the real estate power team for putting this on. Always do a great job. The first question we have is, what 2020 business practices did you adopt and continue into 2021? And I'm going to pick on Nicole to start.
Sorry, I think I'm having connection issues. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, but it's a little spotty, Nicole.
I'll tell you what, we'll come back to you, Nicole, while you get that connection fixed. Catherine, you want to kick us off?
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so for me, the motto of 2020 was pivot. And, well, for the first couple of weeks, we were like, oh, we're not essential yet. What do we do? How do we handle inspections? How do we handle appraisals? And, kind of just like when a disruptor comes into the industry, you don't fear it, you learn it, you understand it, and you learn how to pivot. Well, that was kind of what I was focused on. And I think the key thing for me with everything was efficiency. So I really looked to try to see, okay, how can we become more efficient and really adopt this virtual world that we're moving into. And honestly, we probably should have been doing this earlier. Not anything to do with COVID, just because it really has made business so much more efficient and still able to truly serve the client as you should be. So, my coach is always saying, if it's not prospecting, buyer appointments, seller appointments, or negotiating a contract, get it off your plate. I am still working on that. But from that, I really look to see, okay, how can we do that? And how can we serve people virtually? So 2 parts to it. So virtual appointments, I love Zoom and I love WhatsApp. So for all of those showings where the client is moving from out of state or from out of area, or maybe they're just not comfortable, you know, being able to upload large video files and really being their eyes and not just kind of going through the house, but really showing, hey, there's a nick on this baseboard, and looking at the things that they would look at and sharing that with them. That's been great. Zoom appointments for my buyer consultations and presenting offers and things like that. You still have that face-to-face, you still have the engagement, you still have the relationship building, but you can fit in more appointments. I'm getting rid of the drive time. So I'm able to have more appointments than ever because of that. And then the other part would be in 2020, I finally got a virtual assistant. And that has been phenomenal. Yes, thank you. I had a part-time local assistant, and again, my coach is like kicking me in the butt, and it's just been wonderful getting more stuff off the plate. So I love virtual. Yay for 2020 and learning how to be more efficient.
That's awesome. Definitely has increased efficiency, cutting out that drive time. And if you guys have any questions, please put them in the comments. We're going to have a Q&A at the end. Sarah, let's go with you. What 2020 business practices did you adopt and continue into 2021?
Hey, thanks. Thanks, Catherine. That was really great information. See, this is the cool thing about all this is we're all able to learn from each other what works better. And as you said, you kind of pivoted. I worked on being more flexible. I think flexibility was a big thing in my schedule. I have to laugh when I get approached by someone who says, oh my gosh, I think I would be really good at real estate. I want to go into real estate. And I say, that I bet you would. That's fantastic. And they say, because I hear that you can do whatever hours you want. And quite the contrary. I feel like sometimes I'm a slave to other schedules is what I call it. I don't get to set my own schedule necessarily, but I'm focusing more on that. And that's what I've had to do through 2020 is be more scheduled. And John, when you're talking about all your little Post-it notes, I as well fall into the Post-it note, like, oh, I'll stick that to this. And pretty soon they're stuck to me and my shirts and my computer and everything. So I have been really good about, I'm a big like to-do checklister. Even though I put stuff on my phone, I like to cross things off. So I have a planner. I put things on my planner. I feel like if it's visual, if it's in front of me, I'm accomplishing a little more doing things that way. And then the other thing through 2020 that I learned was to be more organized, organize my workspace, organize my schedule, my family, like life in general. And I feel like if I stick to a schedule, more stuff gets accomplished. And if I have it on paper, I'm able to see it better rather than, again, writing down my little Post-it notes and then jumping back and forth to all the little notes. But scheduling is huge. And whether it's, you know, my client schedules, my family schedules, my personal life schedule, it all has to be in there. And that's something that once you get that down, it is a game changer because otherwise I felt like I was flying by the seat of my pants a lot of times. Like, okay, I got to run from this to this. And there just has to be ample time.
That's great. And I'm totally with you. You know, handwriting it down and then crossing it off, it's somehow you retain it better and it just works, right? It something clicks in your brain. Awesome. Thank you so much. Nicole, are you good to go now?
I think so. I keep having like it's cutting in and out, but let's see if it works out.
Okay, you sound great.
Okay, well that works. As long as you can hear me, that's all good. So for most of you, or for most of you guys know, this was my first year, 2020, as a full-time agent. I went from, you know, working full-time in the hospital, becoming a new mom, and decided to jump in full force in 2020, which it was a good time to jump in, if I have to say so myself. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, everyone's frozen on my screen, so it's so weird for me because everybody's just like in one pose. So anyways, So I didn't really have a strategy going into 2020. In fact, I met with Catherine and had coffee early in the year, and she asked me, she's like, what are your goals this year? And I'm like, I don't know. I want to spend time with my daughter and make a little bit of money to be able to pay the bills. And from there, I really sat down and thought to myself, what do I want to do with my career? So I think the biggest strategy that I had in 2020 was genuinely just putting people first. I reached out to my network, all of my partners. I listened to the people who have been in the industry forever. I watched people, some of the things that they were doing, took some tidbits here and there, and then applied it to what was genuine and true to me. And for 2020, that really worked out. Just putting people first and making them a priority. And then another thing, business best practice that I found for 2020 was that connecting with other agents was key. Like I wanted to connect with as many people as I possibly could. And as I went out in to the industry and went to see open houses or showed clients stuff, I had the opportunity to meet so many great agents, and it really paid off in the end. And I've just learned so much from everybody in this industry this year. But, you know, overall, putting people first and connecting with other agents who have been in the industry for a long time and learning from the true professionals industry.
Well, Nicole, you absolutely killed it in your first year. So I want to say congratulations. Everybody sees it. And we've known you before you were a realtor. You were a monster networker. So congratulations on your first year. And that's awesome. You know, definitely connecting with people is huge.
Thank you,
To
John.
business. And that leads us to another guy that came out of nowhere, Mr. Dylan Hall. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, John? Thanks for having me, guys.
So, yeah, let's finish up with that question. What 2020 business practices did you adopt and continue into 2021?
Yeah, so for 2020, I think first, Nicole, amazing for 2020 being your first year. I was in a similar stage, but kind of a year ahead in terms of when I went full time. 2019 was my first year, my first full year full time, and it was kind of the year that allowed me to figure out what worked in terms of building my business. 2020, the simple goal for me was to just triple everything that I did in 2019 and not really explore optimizing methods for building business, just do more of what I already knew worked. And I learned basically by the end of 2020 that those things don't quite work as well as they did in 2019 and 2020. So I kind of had to scrap a lot of what worked well for me in 2020 and start over in a way in terms of prospecting and business building methods for 2021. For example, with this market being so freaking nuts, Zillow has kind of I think, at least for me, it's run its course. I had a great year with Zillow in 2020, working with a lot of buyers. And when the pandemic kind of lockdown was initiated in March 2020, the goal was simple. Based on what I started with, it's just double my Zillow budget, and I know the buyers are there, so I know that based on that, I'll be able to serve more buyers. But now I can't do that. It's too competitive of a market for me to effectively work with buyers. So I didn't really get to bring that with me. More focus is on sphere of influence. More focus is on building longer term relationships with my clients that now own homes. Other homeowners within neighborhoods that I have listings or recently sold listings. Aside from the kind of obvious with regards to technology and tools and some systems that I was able to bring with me to 2021, I didn't really get to bring too much with me from 2020.
Well, that's awesome. You know, I love it. Grant Cardone, I follow big time. And, you know, the difference between failure and success is massive action. So you taking massive action is huge. And like I said, you came out of nowhere, man. So
Yeah.
As did you, John.
For sure.
Love to see
Thank
your
you.
growth, dude.
Thank
I'm
you,
on
man.
Diaz, John, and I love seeing your trucks. It seems like every few minutes I see one of your trucks driving by.
That's awesome. Well, come by and check out the new place.
We'd love to.
John, you muted yourself, but we're going to go on to our next question. So I think some of you covered this a little bit during our first question, but I want to elaborate, and Catherine, we'll have you come up first again. What personal changes and professional mindset changes did you make to overcome uncertainty? I know you mentioned this a little bit in your first answer, but if you could elaborate a little bit on it.
I did, yeah. So the pivot word, really, I think that was just key. When COVID hit, even within my friendship realtor circle, a lot of people stopped or slowed down. And I looked at each challenge with, okay, how can I pivot? And instead of stopping or slowing down, I actually drove harder. And empathy was a huge word in the beginning. I mean, throughout, and honestly, empathy should always be important. But I think at the very beginning, it was really essential to just approaching people where they are at and not putting your perspective on it, but just really kind of like Nicole was saying, putting people first, you know? And I did a lot of, in my call time, I did a lot of reaching out to my sphere, my past clients, anybody within my world, just checking on them, just, you know, seeing if they need anything. Are they stuck inside? Do they need somebody to bring them food? Just whatever. And I think the other mindset thing was, if something didn't work, trying something else, and then trying something else, and trying something else until you found what did work. And it's kind of funny because I was just teaching my almost 18-year-old this lesson just in the past week, because he's doing one of those classes where you get credit at high school and you also get credit at the junior college, you know, I forget what it's called, I don't know. And we had missed one step, so it wasn't on his Canvas when he was supposed to go to class, and we had to figure it out, and he was getting all stressed out and all emotional. And I was telling him, you know, emotions can be a wonderful thing, you know, like elation and empathy. Those are wonderful things, but you have to be careful not to let emotion drive you. You need to really look at things logically and address it. So if something's not working, okay, fine. Let's try something else. And if that doesn't work, fine, try something else, because there's always a solution. So I think really just that drive, the empathy, and then also choosing what you're going to focus on, and choosing what you're going to magnify, because that's going to truly impact your perspective and your mood and how you respond to people. So, you know, what are you going to fill your spirit with, and how are you going to approach things? How are you going to approach people?
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was a great information on that. This is always I thought this was going to be the trickiest question for everybody, because 2020 just was so mental for so many people. It's still mental going through everything. So it'll be so good to hear everyone's perspective. I'm looking forward to this question. Sarah, I think we'll hear from you next. Sarah Drago.
Okay.
Do you want me to reread the question? Are you good?
Go ahead.
What personal changes and professional mindset changes did you make to overcome uncertainty?
Awesome. I think something I have to really focus on in my business is being determined without discouragement. And that's something through 2020 that has gone up and down a lot. I feel like a number of us have had great success, even though 2020 has been crazy. But I often will dwell on the one situation where, gosh, I did that listing so perfectly, they liked it, and they decided to go with someone else. Or, oh, you know, the negative. I'm often will focus on the one little negative. Even, you know, right before this panel, I had someone who ended up, I use the word ditching, but ended up ditching me as an agent because the sister wanted a referral from out of state. So she's like, no, use this agent instead. And I kind of, these people don't know me, but they were using me. And instead of being excited that I have a new listing and everything, I allowed that little tiny negative to influence me. So the mindset change that I need to do is to focus on the positive and be determined that things are going to work out and things are going to be great. And there's going to be bumps in the road along the way, but there's bumps in the road along the way with everything, I guess. And so just staying focused and positive and determined on finding the positive in situations rather than focusing on the one little negative that can ruin it all.
Awesome. Great advice for any facet of life, I think. Nicole, let's hear from you next.
All right, so I'm going to try to keep it separate. For my personal mindset this year, again, it was my first year in real estate, so I was trying to figure out how I was going to be a full-time mom, but also be a full-time realtor. And so as far as my personal mindset went, I really had to take a step back and slow down. So all of us know that prior to 2020, we were go, go, go. We were always on the go. Some days we were gone at 5 a.m. and not home until 10 p.m. So personally, just slowing down. My husband and I sit in the morning, we drink coffee, we let Nora play, we enjoy the moment, and then, we go about our day. So personally, the mindset was just to kind of slow down, enjoy the moment. My daughter's young once, so I just want to take that in. And then professionally, as a new agent, I had it in my head that I needed to have like this huge, elaborate plan with like hours blocked out on my schedule. And if it didn't go exactly how I had it planned, then I began to have all this self-doubt and self-sabotage. And, I needed to remind myself that currently I am a full-time mom with no babysitter. So sometimes when my clients are calling me, I have a daughter hanging on my leg, screaming, crying. I have to find snacks to calm her down. Like many other moms, I can't imagine some of these rock star moms who are doing homeschooling, trying to, run their business full time. But, professionally, I needed to give myself some grace and just work hard around the things that were happening in my life. And remember that even though I'm new, doesn't mean that I'm any less capable than any of the other agents out there. I know that there are agents who have tons of experience. And if I don't have the answer, I tell my clients that, I don't have an answer to that. I'm going to figure it out. So professionally, I just had to remind myself to be confident and not self-sabotage myself. So.
Again, good advice for all of us all the time. John said in the chat, we are always our own biggest critic, which is definitely true. I am guilty of that as well. Okay, Dylan, let's hear from you.
Yeah, so personally, very similar to what you said, Nicole, in terms of just slowing down and asking myself bigger questions about why I have goals, what I want to achieve, but also why do I want to achieve it? Ultimately, I think we all probably, hopefully we all left some transactions on the table last year because we chose to spend time doing things that mattered more to us, whatever it may be to us. So for me, that was actually allowing myself to take a dozen vacations. I put that on the goal board. And at the end of last year, I sat with my business partner on the brokerage, Nick, and we actually looked at how much I probably lost by taking those 12 vacations. And I can happily say that it was well worth it. So personally, just, kind of reminding myself to see the bigger reason behind all the effort that I put in every day. Professionally was probably an easier transition because, like you said, Catherine, I love what you said about emotions. They can be good, but in my opinion, I think emotions usually do not help us as business owners. I think it's better for us to kind of operate with our minds more than our hearts. And so with my mind, I just reminded myself often that this is just like any adversity. This is what I make of it. The agents that have been successful in the last downturn and in any industry and other moments of difficulty, the people that were successful were the ones that didn't just stand on the sideline and wait for the market to improve. They were the ones that pivoted. Again, like you said, Catherine, they pivoted and they took the action based on what their mind told them they needed to do, even though their emotions and their heart probably wanted to just wait it out on the sidelines until things got better and the markets opened again. So I didn't allow myself to act with my emotions. I acted with my mind, and I doubled down and kept working. And then finally, the thing is just to allow myself to live a life based on, I guess, appreciative from internal, not external. For a lot of people, it was the worst year ever. And I'm sure for a lot of the people here on the panel and listening now, 2020 was the best year ever in all areas of our life. And that's a choice. We all, for the most part, dealt with the same circumstances and the same obstacles. We made the choice to make a great year. It wasn't given to us. And so I reminded myself that I have the power to create a great year, regardless of how difficult the external circumstances are.
Hell yes. I loved that. That was awesome. I agree. 2020 was hard and it was challenging to learn so much new stuff, but there was so many blessings that came out of it. And I heard from all four of you, the number one was just to slow down. You know, as a rep in my industry, I am on the go from, like Nicole said, from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. And it was so nice to have that lesson in 2020 to slow down because, you know, fortunately for me and in our industry, we were still successful with that. So it was a great lesson to learn. John, I think you're going to take the next question here.
All right. Thank you, Wayman. I had to throw that in there, at least one. And Dylan, if
it's going to change soon, John, so get it in while you can.
I love it. And Dylan, if you could drop in the chat any links on self-education that you do, because for your age, the knowledge that you have is phenomenal. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Okay, so our next question is, how has technology impacted your business positively and negatively? And, you know, for me, I can tell you that I did not adjust to Zoom well at all. I like belly to belly talking to people, and this is rare for me to be on here. So Catherine, let's start with you.
Gosh, I kind of feel like I already answered this one. Yeah, Zoom and WhatsApp. I mean, and other things too, of course, but I honestly, I am not the most techie person. I'm really not. I mean, we have this standing joke in my house that things won't work, and then my husband will come and stand by me, and all of a sudden they will work. And I swear to you, I did everything the same as when he's standing there. So I feel you. And I think just navigating like how to use these, you know, these tools has been a journey, but once I figured it out, then I realized, okay, actually this could be something really good. And like I had mentioned earlier, it helped me to be more efficient, but even with efficiency, you know, connection is still important. You don't want people to feel like they're just, I see a question about WhatsApp. I'll answer that later. You don't want people to feel like they're a number ever, because they're not. They, you know, every family, every person has their own story, and you want to be a part of that. So I think it enabled me to still be a part of that and serve people in a way that they felt comfortable with. And it's fun too, because I always joke around with my consultations. I'm like, you can be at home in your PJs with your coffee in hand and the kids screaming behind you, and it's all good, you know? It's all good.
So why WhatsApp over any other messaging app?
I was having the hardest time, even with my virtual assistant, sending videos. So I do a lot of video, and sending video, it just like, it wasn't going through anywhere. And that was the only one that I could find where you could send these large files. So for my virtual assistant, anytime like I do one of my market update videos or anything like that, if it's not something I'm sharing in my drive, then I'll send it to her in that, and she's able to work with it. But then for my clients, if I'm going to go and tour a home for them, we tried the whole FaceTime thing, or if they have, an Android, we could do Google Duo. But if you're in a spotty area, then, they're not able to see the house, and it's jumping and jittering and sticking. And so I just found that it was more effective to just do a video, and of course widen it so you can see it. And then to be able to share it in WhatsApp, the file size would go through. So, and it also helps me for any of my clients that are maybe out of the country. So I have somebody in Korea right now, and somebody else in Okinawa right now, and you're able to message back and forth and call each other and do business, even though they're in a completely different part of the world.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know I've heard you on the radio before too.
Ah, you're a Viner.
I'm a Viner, and I'm a K-Frog guy. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. That's definitely some good tools that we can use. All right, Sarah, how has technology impacted your business, both positively and negatively?
Awesome. Honestly, I don't think it's changed too much for the negative with the technology, especially. I think a lot of people are worried about the Zillow thing. For me personally, I didn't use Zillow for client contacts. So for me, I don't feel like it'll change my business. I think there's lots of other options. There's so many people out there that are looking to buy and sell right now that we don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, what's going to happen now that we can't utilize Zillow in the way that we did in the past. They're all great tools, but negatively, I think the hardest thing is I have 5 kids at home, and my husband's a teacher as well. So we're all on the internet all day. So hence I'm doing this on a phone just because all the kids are in school and he's teaching, and I don't want there to be a lag on it. That's been the hardest. Is I concur a little with what Catherine was saying too, with the different apps that you're trying to utilize and keep the flow going. But anything that you can do to get your face in front of other people is so important. And I think that using the technology, I'll share with you one agent I did a transaction with. I had a listing down in Poway, and he would send me little video clips here and there, and I thought it was really cool. And it wasn't super long, maybe 30-second video clips. My clients loved this. It was great. Hey, we just did our inspection. But it put a name with a face, and it gave me a little more connection, where sometimes it's just a quick little email that we're shooting back and forth between agents. So I kind of want to learn from him and adopt that into my practice, and maybe shoot a quick little video to agents that I'm working with and help establish a little more of a rapport with them, so they kind of feel like, even though we're not communicating together, but we're sending those little video clips, and he might feel like we made a better connection as agents. And so I'm going to use that, and hopefully, it builds a little rapport with our agents in the Valley as well.
I agree. Lisa just put in the chat that video is such a hit, and it's so true. People connect more with video, and God bless you for having 5 kids and killing it. I don't know how you do it.
Thank you. Good
So,
luck.
I don't have any, and I struggle. So God bless you for that. All right. Nicole, how's technology impacted your business, positive and negative?
So I think it's mainly been a positive all around. Like I said before, I'm at home with a crazy child, so being able to jump on a Zoom and have her in the background watching a show or eating a snack or something like that is fantastic. It's been huge for me to be able to do client consultations, or even like listing appointments via Zoom. It saves me so much time. Lisa and I both talked about this, that normally you're on the road, you spend an hour, 2 hours in the car, whereas now you can do way more in your day than you could have before, running from place to place. So in that way, it's been huge for me. And then the other thing, the majority of my business has really come from Facebook. I try to post daily about who I am, what I'm doing. Most of the time it's Nora doing something hilarious and people are just like eating that up. And I always get people who are like, oh my gosh, how did you get her to stage with that cell phone or that computer? And honestly, I don't ever set her up with that stuff. I just watch her because she watches me all day long on my iPad or on the phone. But a lot of people have seen the posts that I've made on Facebook and said, oh my gosh, you're in real estate now. Give me a call. Let's talk about it. So I think overall technology has been a huge hit for my business, and I'm glad that I jumped in when I did because it might not have worked out as well as it did in 2020. So
You're a rock star. It would have worked out just as well, if not better, Nicole.
Can I jump
Thanks,
in and
John.
say something about Nicole, guys?
Yeah.
One of the things that I kind of realized in 2020 was just about being yourself. And what I love is Nicole has totally R&D'd the best stuff, but she really did make it her own. And the whole mommy realtor thing is just gold. And you know what, girl? No one cares if they can hear your kid in the background. If anything, it's going to make them relate to you even more. That's what I love, is when people are just themselves, and it makes you stand out too. There are so many posts, there are so many different videos, and so many realtors just kind of seem the same, but it really resonates with people when they connect with who you are as a person. So I just think huge props to you, girl. You keep doing you. You're awesome.
thank you, Catherine. You're wonderful, and you've been a huge inspiration to me. So I feel very blessed to be on this panel sitting next to you. You have been very inspiring to me.
Wow, the energy is just amazing right now. It's great. All right, Mr. Dillon, what do you got for technology, good and bad?
Man, I've been trying to think of something bad to say, and I can't think of anything. It's been all good. I've loved the kind of disruption that has led to more innovation and advancement of technology, or at least as realtors and business owners, our adoption of the technology. It's been great. I think all of the best listing agents now are using Matterport 3D tours. And a year ago, I would say maybe less than 10% of them were. And so it's really cool that instead of now, with maybe out of state or out of area clients, we would have to schedule ourselves to do a walkthrough of a home in their absence, and spend 20 minutes on video and then come back to the office, and it needs to be uploaded to Dropbox, and then we share the file with them, just to give them that deeper understanding of the floor plan. Well, now they get better than what they got with our crappy iPhone videos, because they get a Matterport walkthrough. And I've even shipped, just through Amazon Prime, my higher quality and price point buyer clients, just a $20 headset of VR where they slide their iPhone in, and it comes with a little plastic remote, so they can actually walk through the homes that they're interested in and experience bedroom size, which always seems to be such a big question for people that are buying out of the area. They have the understanding they need, and that's a positive result of the kind of disruption that has led to more of us adopting the Matterport. More of us see value in this in our listings. So it's been great. I have nothing bad to say about kind of the increase in adoption of newer, more innovative technology from last year.
That's awesome, Dillon. Can you drop a link in the chat of where we can find that VR device?
Yeah,
If that's possible.
Expensive. I think it's my buddy Frisco, who does my listings, is next door. He runs an office for me, and he owns one. It's like $5,000. So it's probably, I think all of our photographers probably have one now. But yeah, it's called Matterport. I'll type it in.
Yeah, and Wayman's got a great contact for that. She just let us know in the chat. I mean, we've definitely adjusted as well. I agree with Nicole. I mean, for my business, a lot of Facebook and Instagram, but it has also come from the network I've already built over the years,
Mhm.
right? And the people
Mhm.
that I know, and then you just reconnect on Facebook or Instagram during this time. I think the one negative this has all had is the loss of human connection, right? If I'm going to throw a negative out there, but it's making people more distant. You know, you can connect online, you can connect with technology, but it's not the empathy aspect is lost, and just connecting with people. Very good. Go ahead and take it away,
I
Layman.
agree. Thanks, Ruff. Okay, you guys, question number 4, and this is going to be a great one for all of our affiliate friends who are on here, just to hear the feedback you guys have. So, how have relationships with your affiliate partners changed? What tips can you provide your peers? So, Catherine, you want to go first?
I have nothing for you here. I mean, I love all my affiliates, but absolutely nothing changed. So I don't sorry, I don't have anything for you on that one.
That's good.
But I can't wait to hear what everybody else says.
Yeah. I guess my biggest question is, because we don't have that, you know, I'll just speak on this because I am an affiliate partner. So I think one of the biggest losses for us is not having that one-on-one connection, that human connection, as John was saying. So for a while there, we weren't even allowed to go to offices. We couldn't office visit, which is a huge part of some of our business routines, and we couldn't see anybody. I mean, for my company, the first 30 days, I wasn't even allowed to go visit clients. And then we eventually figured stuff out. Now we can, which is great. But did that affect your, I guess, perception or relationship with that affiliate partner, not being able to see them in your face once a week? Or you just have solid relationships that didn't affect it, which is obviously the ideal answer, but
It really didn't.
good.
I mean, with my affiliates, we're texting, calling, chatting,
For sure.
emailing all the time anyway. So nothing and we kind of have a non-visitor policy in our office.
Sure.
So
Yeah, a lot of offices.
I just wasn't that realtor where affiliates were coming in to do the touch base. If I was going to see any of my affiliates on that connection level, we would just do lunch. So
Awesome.
sorry.
No, that's okay. Good feedback. Nicole, how about you?
I was gonna say, I don't think it there was no negative effect of not being able to see everybody in person. I'm never in the office, so it's not like I would be seeing anybody anyways, unless they just randomly showed up at my house. But I think a positive thing that happened in 2020 is that I was able to connect on a different level with some of the affiliate partners. So for example, Dave Medina, the lender that I work with, he put together like these mastermind book reading groups. And whereas if we would have been as busy as we have been in the past, we would have never been able to participate in those things. So we were all slammed in 2020. Let's not, play that down. But because we were at home and we had a little bit more flexibility in our schedules, we were able to connect on different levels. Joining in on some of these meetings that I wouldn't have been able to participate in because I'm at home with Nora, or she would have been a distraction in somebody's office or something like that. For me, I think it was a positive thing, and it's just solidified some of the affiliate relationships that I already had. And then I've had other people reach out to me, and I've been able to have constructive conversations via phone or Zoom. So I think this year was good as far as affiliates go, and my people are my people, and they'll always be around.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole. Sarah, how about you?
So I have a different take on this. This was actually the
good.
question I was looking forward to the most. This was the one that I felt like I related to the most, at least in this. I feel like I strengthened relationships with my affiliates through the year. And I also feel like there's affiliates that I refer a lot of business to that probably have no idea, which is kind of interesting too. And I need to strengthen that relationship that I have with them, or For instance, I saw Garen's in here. Garen, I actually send people to him frequently, and I don't know if they mention it or not, but I don't know Garen on a personal level. Him and I haven't connected, but I know my broker relies on him and respects him, and so I've used that as a source, and so has a couple of the other affiliates that I know. My inspector has been great, and since I do see the inspector one-on-one a lot, we've had a lot of opportunities to share information with one another, and he's around a lot of different agents and stuff like that, so that's been really helpful. John, I send a lot of people here's Rough and Ready's number, here, contact them, they'll take care of you. He's very involved, he's involved in the community, and I like sharing affiliates business, especially where I can talk about the good that these people are doing in the community. I see a lot of posts from John with Rough and Ready, how he's helping in the community, how I see with my inspector Matthew does a lot in the community, and with Rotary, and I like to talk that up. I see, our title reps and escrow doing things and participating in things, and always commenting and saying, hey, I'd like to jump in on that. So I have so much respect for the affiliates, because you guys are what help bring business to us as well. So I really try to share that business with others, and I appreciate it means a lot to me when I do have things going on, or when I do post too, that extra support, like, hey, I just sold this one, or this transaction was rough, and my affiliates will make comments on my post, and that means something to me too, because I know they can empathize, and they're in the world of real estate with me, cheering me on. So it means a lot.
I love that, Sarah. We love that you notice that kind of stuff, because I think as affiliates, it's a little difficult to make sure we're in your corner all the time when we can't see you, other than, we FaceTime or talk. But that's a good point, to have that encouragement on social media and stuff. So that's helpful. Thank you. Dylan, how about you?
Yeah, so I think I took this question a different way. I didn't quite take it in terms of physical meetings so much as just what the ideal partnership is in the first place. So when I was, up until recently, really my kind of goal or mission behind my partnerships was a partnership that helped me get my business off the ground, in terms of things that are more financial, to be honest. So on the buyer side, it is co-marketing partnerships for ad spend, and on the list side, it's something similar with farming. And that was nice early on when I needed the help, and I was living at my parents' house, putting my own expenses on a credit card. It was nice to have a lender that I was partnered with that was kind of equally committed to converting some of these online leads, and vice versa. On the listing side with sellers, but now it's, instead of kind of contributing to a partnership in that regards, it's the affiliate partners that I'm looking for are kind of two things. One is I need them to be a role model of mine. I want to be more like my affiliate partners, and that kind of allows me to take what they have to offer in terms of coaching. I'm still very new to this. I have a lot more room to grow in terms of where I want to be. And I think I get the most value from a partnership when that affiliate partner is somebody who I look up to as a family member and a business owner, a leader of a household, and also just kind of plays the roles and falls into somebody who's a coach to me, and not just somebody who's a business partner.
Can I jump in really quick? That really, something that you said really triggered too. I think another important thing with affiliates is, do you feel, Dylan, that they're an extension of you? I feel like anybody who I don't refer lightly, and John, you don't know, and you and I have never met, but I refer people to you all the time. But who you refer to is so important, because then that experience that they have is going to be connected with you. So knowing that you can refer in confidence and know that whoever that affiliate is, that they're going to take care of the client or your friend or your family member, is just huge.
Yeah, I love that. That's very true. I've had a situation where I've referred past clients who were either buying out of state or refinancing to different lenders. One past client did not have a good experience, and that tarnished their opinion of me as their real estate agent. Even though the transaction was closed, it hurt me because, you know, that lender who gave them a poor experience, you know, that's on me. I bear the responsibility. And then vice versa. Just last week, I had a situation where I referred a seller of mine to a lender for their out-of-state purchase. And my client who sold with me had an amazing experience in the pre-approval process. And not more than one day later, put me in a group message with a friend who's going to be selling her home in Menifee. And so, yeah, based on what you said, Catherine, I am confident that that introduction, that referral, wouldn't have happened if my seller, if my past client didn't get a great experience with who I referred her to.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that perspective too. We are all a team. We're just different parts of the team. So have to have a good tribe in your back pocket to make that successful transaction. John, you want to hit us with the last question for our panelists?
Yeah, so a couple things, guys. If you have any questions, guys and gals, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat so we can do our Q&A and get any questions answered. And then back to what Sarah said, you know, community is everything. They've built my business, and I'm going to help build them up, you know, and we're all a team. And I love our little bubble we live in here. It's wonderful. And then, okay, we'll go into our last question. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Sorry, guys. Tony Robbins is an affiliate, okay, in this business. Tony Robbins said it the best. You're paid in the marketplace for the value you add, not the value you are. You have to constantly add value. And that's not necessarily money. That's always knowledge, wisdom, what you've learned. You know, I've learned the real estate business almost inside and out to help realtors, to help lenders, escrow with their business. And I think that's huge. Adding value in your marketplace is what needs to be done. Okay. Our last question is, what continuing education areas are you focusing on? Go ahead, Catherine. Take it away.
Well, for me, it's YouTube and social media optimization. YouTube especially. That's I am so bad at YouTube. And you know, it just kind of recognizing how to utilize each platform in a different way, and to be able to tell your story in a different way. So yeah, I'm trying to get skilled up.
Awesome. Yeah, digital marketing. I just got done reading a book called Sell Like Crazy. It's the #1 digital marketer out of Australia. It's a great book. I suggest you pick it up. It taught me a lot about digital ads, YouTube, email marketing, Facebook ads. Just huge knowledge. All right, Sarah, what continuing education areas are you focusing on?
Well, my license is up for renewal this year, so I'm going to be doing my classes again. But when I read this, I'm like, oh, sometimes I love it, and sometimes I dread these things. But something that I really want to focus on, and if I could share with any agents in the area, is our ethics. And I'm not talking on a soapbox or anything like that, because I know I make mistakes, but I often say this to my broker when I call her. I'm always up to asking questions and this and that. And I say, I just want to make sure I'm doing the best ethically. You know, I just want to make sure I'm doing this on the up and up. And I think that's so important in our industry, because we can be lumped into some ugly stuff going on. And I think we need to strive for a better reputation amongst ourselves. And staying up on ethics is it's just super important to me. It's the way I try to live my life, and it's the way I try to be with my family and my friends. So why wouldn't I incorporate that into my work? So working on ethics is super important for me. So I'm going to be striving to not only do that, but and also in my education, when we talk about all this networking and stuff like that, I feel like connecting with other agents in the area is upping my education. I think a couple of us have touched on that, but working with one another is so important to one, boost the morale, and then connect. You know, I might have a good connection in an arena that you were looking for, and we can share with one another. And there's so much work in this valley. I'm not ever afraid that someone's going to take work if I share an idea with them. You know so many more people than I know, and I know other people that you don't know. So let's work together and build each other up. I think that's something that people become so cutthroat in certain industries. And it's so important to educate each other on what works, what doesn't work. And that's why we're doing this, right? We all want to help each other out and make sure everyone has their success level go up. So that's what I want to focus on, is surrounding myself with good people and learning from the best.
That's awesome. And yeah, people are so afraid that they're going to drop a secret and then all their business is going to magically go away. And 99% of the people you teach something to aren't going to take the massive action and implement it. And what you're doing is you're sounding like a guru in your industry, which is actually going to attract more business to you than take it away. So well said.
That's my favorite thing, John.
Yeah.
I love that. I hate when our industry gets too competitive or secretive or worried that other people are going to take the business. I mean, John knows this about me. He had an escrow rep just starting in the industry, and he called me, and I sat with her and helped her and gave her it doesn't matter. I mean, this community is huge. There's so much business to go around. And if we can help each other succeed, it'll come back.
We all start somewhere.
Yeah.
You know? So why not help each other out and be positive? You know, look at Nicole and Catherine working together. I think it's fantastic. And that's how I've learned. I know Tyson, when I first started out, you know, he was a great influence for me. And, you know, we did lunch, we communicated, and I've learned a lot from a lot of different people, and it's helped me. And I hope that I can be that to someone else as well.
Absolutely. And not only does it help somebody, you are also giving yourself affirmations of what you're doing is right. So that's going to make you better as well. Amazing. Love the content. All right, Nicole, what continuing education are you focusing on besides mommy education?
Potty training currently. No, in 2020, when the pandemic started, I kind of crawled into a hole and thought that I was going to be doing nothing at all and be stuck at home. So I took quite a few classes, and that was super helpful for me. Being a brand new agent, there's so much that I still don't know. So I took some classes on, the RPA and things like that were extremely helpful for me, because when somebody asks you questions about a document that long, you just kind of glaze over and look like a deer in headlights. So that was super important for me as a new agent. But this year, what I'm really going to focus on, in the beginning, I rely on a transaction coordinator for a lot of the paperwork. And when I get questions from clients, like I said in the beginning, sometimes I don't know the answers being so new, but I always tell people, I don't know the answer to that, but I'll get you the answer. So my big focus this year is learning the process inside and out, relying on my affiliates, relying on my transaction coordinator, relying on the people who do know the business better than I do to really understand every single aspect of a transaction, and making sure that I'm a true resource for all my clients. I think that's one of the areas that I'm really going to focus on this year. I know I call my lender all the time with questions that he probably shouldn't even know about the actual process, but he does. He's extremely knowledgeable. I call Lisa and ask her questions that that I should know, but I think my biggest focus right now is just understanding everything so that way I am a true resource for all my clients and that I have answers for them every step of the way, making sure that they are certain that they pick the right person as they move forward in one of the biggest transactions of their lives.
Awesome. Awesome. And in your first year, I don't know, speechless. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, young man, who's getting smarter and smarter than all of us. What are you doing for your education?
I'm getting smarter thanks to you guys. Like Sarah, I think it's awesome that we can all have the ability to, basically, we cut our learning time to, a fraction of what it would be on our own, because we can share with each other what we've learned out in the field. For the brokerage, it means, once a week at our meetings, all of our agents need to show up to the meeting with a lesson learned. And, everyone's working, I'd say, at least 40 hours a week, hopefully. So they get to kind of extract what they learned from their week that was most valuable to them in terms of a lesson learned. And then the other 9 or 10 of us get to hear it without having to go through that struggle on our own later. So I think it just speeds up the learning curve. And so in terms of being able to learn from each other, I think that's really, really valuable. And what I love about Temecula Valley, maybe it's not unique to Temecula Valley, but it certainly seems like it based on what I've seen in other larger, higher price markets, is that the agents that are at the top of the list in terms of total volume, they are the ones, Tyson's a great example, are the ones that are willing to share the most about what works for them. And when we do that, when we share with each other, we just elevate the industry as a whole. And I think we can do it with our affiliate partners too. Like John, I recently learned how dangerous it is for sellers to use a broker when they're moving. My seller, I felt terrible. She had the worst experience ever because she went through a broker that was the best price, and these 2 kids showed up with literal sandals and socks, prepared to move her house, and obviously they did not get the job done. And unfortunately, I had to learn that the hard way. My agents didn't have to learn it the hard way. They get to learn from me and vice versa. So aside from that, I think another thing I'm focusing on in terms of education, also I think rooted in Tyson, is how to create something that's larger than just a high-paying job. Tyson is on a freaking buying spree with all the rental properties that he's picking up. And I think that's something that we're all missing out on if we don't make a very conscious effort to do ourselves. Why don't real estate agents also invest? I think, Bill, you told me the standard a while ago is that maybe 5% of realtors are also real estate investors. That's crazy. It should be all of us. So I'm focusing this year on just continuing to get educated on investing, and beyond just getting educated on investing, actually doing more of it. Because to be real, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be selling real estate when I'm 80. I want to have rental properties, and so educating myself early on actually buying them is going to help me make my exit, be able to spend more time with my family later.
That's awesome.
Awesome advice, Dylan.
Mm-hmm. And I'll go ahead, Wayman.
That's okay. I was just going to move on to questions and answers, but John, finish up your thought. Yeah.
I was going to say, I am so busy throughout the day. My brain short circuits around 3, 4 o'clock, and I push through to 5 or 6. All my education's done. I wake up at 4:35 in the morning. Read, get your exercise in, that type of stuff. But reading has really helped me a lot, and it's helped with how I speak to people, my diplomacy, pausing before, because my mind won't shut off. So I pause before I speak, and it's just been huge for me. So reading a book or audio book would be very helpful.
Good advice, John.
Can I ask a question real quick? Someone was asking about Clubhouse. Dylan, you know something about Clubhouse. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, Clubhouse is dope. It's a new social media app, and it's audio only, no photos, and it's only live. So, you know, obviously Instagram, you post a photo and it exists forever. If you delete it, it's gone, but if you don't delete it, it stays forever. With Clubhouse, it is, think of it as a virtual audio only Clubhouse, kind of like a Zoom room, and it's only live. There are no recordings, and anyone and everyone can just jump in a room of Clubhouse and talk about whatever they want. So yesterday I was in a room with Wilson Long, who is, I think at this point, the #1 real estate agent and team leader in South San Francisco. Kenny Trong, who is also a top producing real estate agent, and he's going to do, I think, $500 million, $500 million in sales this year. And I'm in this room with them and maybe 30 other people. And this is kind of something that I would pay, or a lot of other agents like me would pay a lot of money to be able to just hear Wilson and Kenny talk to each other about their leadership practices and their lead generation practices. And I just get to listen to it live while I'm sitting in bed writing up an offer, or I'm here in the office. It's just playing in the background. So it's kind of it breaks down the barrier to entry to be able to listen to these incredibly successful people just chat with each other.
Wow, that sounds awesome. Is it an app you download, or do you make the screen name? Is it connected to Facebook? How was all that set up?
Yeah, it's its own app. It's its own app.
Okay.
It's its own social media.
Got it.
And I think they're still doing invite only, but it's easy to get an invite. So like if you guys want to get on, just text me or DM me, or message me after. We can save each other's phone numbers, and then once you download the app, I'll get a notification to give you the invite code.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you for doing that, Dylan. Appreciate it. Marianne, did we have any other questions that I missed? I was scanning through. Does anyone have any questions for our panelists? What time is it? We have quite a few minutes for any questions or any topics that we didn't cover today that you'd like to hear from our panelists about. How awkward is it when you're on Zoom and you ask a question and you can't hear everyone and you're just looking, staring? It's my favorite part.
I'd like to know if there are any other books that you haven't mentioned, any other great reads.
The Missing Ingredient by Ron McIntosh is huge, about affirmations and heart beliefs and knowing where you're going to be. Like Dylan was saying, he knows where he's going to be when he's ready to retire, right? And he's setting himself up and just believing that in your heart, and then your subconscious mind brings that into action. Great book.
John, who wrote that?
Ron.
Can you put that in the chat?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I wanted to say, oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
I actually just wanted to say something about Sarah because I work with her, and I actually wanted to say it at the panel last year. But Sarah is like salt of the earth, and it speaks volumes about her success because she has, like she said, 5 children, and she is super invested in the community. And not just because she's doing it as a way of like marketing, but she will literally do anything for anyone. And when like we were in school, like she is involved in every PTA. She has super involved in soccer, like team mom. So I just really wanted to say that about her because I love her and I think that she's amazing. And I really wanted to say it last year and I was kicking myself, Sarah. So I just wanted to say it this year because I think you're awesome.
And you like to see me cry in front of people.
And it really just speaks about who you are. You're so successful because you're like an amazing person and really would do anything for all your clients. She definitely goes above and beyond all the time.
Casey's my TC and she is awesome. I can't do it without her.
Oh, you're very nice, but really it was about you. That's all.
Thank you, Casey. That was super sweet. Sarah is an incredible agent and person. We love Sarah. We're happy she's here with us today. And we're happy all of you guys are here with us today. So thank you so much. I'm off mute. Okay. If there is anything else you guys want to hear about. If you are uncomfortable speaking, you can write it in the chat. I'll give it a few more seconds before I close out.
If you guys don't mind, John, I'd love to ask you a question.
What you got?
And tell me if my understanding of your kind of upbringing is wrong, but I kind of, from what I understand, is you were a owner operator and eventually continued to grow this company. Was it, what were the challenges in scaling up and kind of removing yourself from more of the, day to day of being like, in the field, in the dirt, actually moving with your employees to being their leader and not the, not as rough as you used to be, not lifting boxes all day like you used to.
Just be more ready. Well, I mean, days are days, right? Like this morning, I helped my guys unload 20,000 pounds of weight equipment out of a trailer at my warehouse. My upbringing, my parents raised me really well. They worked their asses off, middle class, to put me in sports and anything I wanted. I was a Costco wholesale employee. I worked there for 6.5 years, and then got fired for sleeping on the job. And what happened was I just took for granted the good things I had, right? But my parents instilled that work ethic in me. I worked for another moving company. Who's still around. They were shorting my checks. So I said, screw you, I'm leaving. Took my last $600 check and started this business. I was renting U-Hauls. I got cheap dollies from Harbor Freight and $10 Vistaprint business cards and kept passing them out. And what a lot of people don't do when they start seeing some success is they want to buy the Mercedes, or they want to buy the big house, or they want to do this. I lived in a trailer I couldn't stand up in on my mom's property for 2 years and put everything I made back into my business. So that sacrifice and hard work will take you wherever you want to go. But a lot of people, they don't like to go through the pain. They don't like to embrace that suck, right? Because it sucks. It really does suck. But if you embrace that and go through it and have the mindset of knowing where you're going to go, like my mindset's on 50 trucks in 5 locations. I'm at 12 trucks in like 1.5 locations right now. So I'm not even close where I need to be. But I know where I want to go. And it's just putting out fires every day. You got to be the biggest problem solver. And you grow every time you fire yourself, right? What are you worth? Don't do $15 an hour work if you're not worth $15 an hour. If you're worth $500 an hour, do that kind of work. And when you bring people in, the biggest advice I give you is when you bring in those people to do that $15 an hour work, make sure they know what the hell they're doing. That was my biggest mistake. I brought in managers that didn't know how to manage, and then we've totally just flipped over my whole office, and now it's better now. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing. But just keep working your ass off, man. Reinvest into your business. A lot of people want to buy that material crap. Don't do it. Pump it back into ad spend or an assistant or something that's going to bring you more business or make you smarter. A lot of self-education too. You can only go as far as your knowledge is.
That's awesome. Thanks, John.
All right. You're welcome, man.
Thanks, Dylan, for switching it up on us there. I liked that little switch, and John always gives great, inspiring information. I am very lucky to be pretty close with John, and he's helped me through a lot of business stuff. So we love having John on our panel too, and as a co-moderator today. So thank you, John. If there's nothing else, you guys, we are going to end today. As Marianne mentioned, we did record this. Oh, Pauline, you have your hand raised.
I have my hand raised. I just want to ask Dylan a question because I feel like we got a little wash over on the technology part, and I know he's really good at technology. So, and I see you post and share, you guys should have this. So I just really want to know, what technology have you seen a big difference in your business, if that's your CRM or your HomeBot? I'm not sure. I'm just curious to which one you think is the absolute best.
Yeah, so CRM is always going to be my number one. Always, always. I pay too much by most people's standards, and even mine sometimes, for my CRM, but it allows me to create opportunities that otherwise I just would have missed. John, like you said about where you want to be, I know where I want to be in terms of transactions. Even though I'm not there yet, I'm kind of, and I have prepared myself to scale up to that point by over investing in technology that I don't fully utilize yet. And so right now that's Chime, my CRM. And then otherwise, my favorite tech tool, actually I'd say it's two right now. Highnote is one, and Highnote is just a presentation tool. Pauline, it's probably how I presented the offer to you on that transaction we did last year. If not, I invested in that soon after. But it's a differentiating factor that sets my offer apart. And it's also something that I share with sellers on a pre-listing presentation. When I meet a new buyer or I'm referred to a new buyer, I share the presentation with them. And all I have to do is copy and paste it. It has assets, and each asset is a certain file type. So one file type is a video introduction of me. Another file type is a CMA of my client or my potential seller's home. Another file type or asset is a list of reviews or a photo of me hugging a client while I'm giving them keys. So that's Highnote. And the other is HomeBot, which I'm sure most of us are familiar with. It's just an opportunity to kind of leverage our past clients, our potential sellers, and stay in front of them without investing so much time in the long-term follow-up.
Thank you. And it was a great transaction with you. I think it was at the beginning of last year is when we actually sold that house together. So
yeah, great working with you, Pauline.
Thank you, Pauline, so much. I think I saw Sarah's hand raised. Sarah.
Hey, thanks, Lisa. I wanted to kind of chat while we have agents on too. I've noticed a trend in lowering commission rates out there. And I want to see what we can do as an industry to keep the commission rates up, because, buyers are approaching us with that, sellers are approaching us with that. And I feel like once we start lowering the rates, it's hard to get it back up. So what can we do as an industry? And I thought this is just maybe a little rhetorical because I have my own thoughts on it, but what can we do as agents or to keep that value up, because we're doing the same work, if not more now?
That's a great question, Sarah. And the reason I know it's a great question is every agent's eyes on my screen when you said that went like this.
Yeah.
So
it's happening. It's happening.
Anybody want to comment on that?
I kind of have a follow-up question to people that have been in the industry longer than me. When the market gets extremely competitive like this, do commissions tend to tighten naturally? So, 2006, did the BAC start being reduced to 2% more frequently? Did listing agents start taking commissions at a lower rate more frequently? And then when the market got tough, 2009, did commission increase again to its standard 6 or 5%?
I can answer that. I think, I don't know, Barbara Horan here. What happens is when the market tightens, and if you're not a really great agent, you don't really feel your value, you don't know how to sell your value, the first thing you do is reduce your commission. Okay, so what? The client goes, okay, great. You look at these, I don't know if you guys, when you're watching your news, like Nicole in the morning, you drinking your coffee, watching the news, and the baby's playing or whatever, and you see home life, and it's 1% or up, it's crazy. Now, they're not realtors, because if they were, that would be a problem. It's not illegal to advertise a discount, but why would you? And we all know the script. If we can't negotiate your money or our money, how are we going to negotiate your money? So you've got to know your value proposition. And I think that many of the panel today, they know their value proposition. So you actually can sell that and say, here's how. So you got to nail this elevator, conversation by saying, here's how I'm going to make you more money. And again, it's not about me, it's about you, but at the same time, man, when you get these discounters, and some of these people on the panel, even though some of them are brand new, and I love the idea of saying, tell me what you learned this week, or tell me what we've learned this month. Is that you get what you pay for, but the consumer doesn't always feel it like that. So you've got to nail that conversation about what's in it for them. Why you and not me? So that's where the rubber meets the road, in my opinion. I hate the people advertise. I can see where you say, call me about my flexible commission program. But so what does that mean? That means maybe if I double ended, I'm going to give you a 0.5 point off or something like that. But don't undermine our industry. And we don't do that. We're complaining about the people that do onesies, twosies, whatever, or maybe they're with Zillow or, all these other companies that either aren't realtors, although Zillow is now a realtor, but, and they have no value. So you get what you pay for. So again, you got to know what your value is worth and sell it. And I always say when people, ask my agents, well, will you give me some money back? Because consumers are asking us for money right now. They're saying, hey, what will you give me if you bring the buyer? They're trained to ask these questions. And I always just back into like, well, tell me what you want to net and I'll make it happen. Right? I don't know. It's really crazy out there, but you've got to know your elevator speech really well.
And knowing the speech is important, but being able to retain the client over the speech. I've had a couple situations where they'll have someone walk in right behind me and say, oh, that sounds good. I'll do that too, but I'll cut it to this. And they came back to me, but I haven't backed down. I won't back down on the commission on that when they're asking me to, because again, I've kind of likened it to the situation, you go shopping at Walmart for certain things and you go to Nordstrom's for certain things, and that's just it. And, do you want a Walmart sale or do you want a Nordstrom sale? And that's kind of how I don't say it like that to them, but in a sense, it's a good little analogy, but I'm giving you the value and I will bring this to you. And typically I'm able to negotiate the higher price because of it. So,
well, and Sarah, and I can tell that people love you. So you build the relationship and you've got to do that. You can't just walk in and go, oh, hi, how are you? Shake their hand and go, here's what I can do. No, you've got to develop the relationship. And once you do that, then you can sell the crap out of your value, and they may pay more for you, but at the end of the day, the net is higher.
Right.
That's what you have to prove. And it's easy to do. It's just easier not to figure it out. So if you can figure that out and get with your broker and find out how to do that, and your broker, Sarah, is one of the best people on the planet that I know. I don't know if she's still on the call, but she's one of the best people that I know. I love her because she's way younger than me, and she helps me through my little senior moments. But I see her postings of you doing all these transactions per month, and it's because you have the relationship built. And I'm sure everyone on the panel, Dylan, Nicole, you all have this ability to build relationships, and you can sell the crap out of it. And it's not like a sales job. It's you're trying to do the right thing for the client. You don't want them to go with some schmo that's going to, hate realtors now after this deal. You're trying to protect them. And so, like I said, if you know what their net is, you need to ask that. You can back into anything and make it work and negotiate. I mean, negotiating skills are the best thing. I love that the whole panel says, hey, let's educate each other. Let's continue to go to education and do all this stuff. And that even, I don't care if you've been in business as long as I've been, I still educate myself because things change almost every day, right? You don't know it all. I hate when people say, oh, I've been in business for 50 years. That's a dead ringer for me. I know that they don't know what they're talking about. They're just trying to tell me that they know their stuff, and they usually don't. You've got to stay on top of this stuff. And most of you kids have done that. And I do too. It's work. So I'm hailing everybody on this panel And I don't know if I answered the question about the commission thing, but always know your net and back into it. You can sell it as long as they believe you. They believe that you care about them and that you'll get them what they need. That at the
Agreed.
end of the day, that's it, right, Sarah?
Yeah, I totally agree. But what can we do collectively as an industry to keep this from happening? That's what I'm thinking.
I wish we had something that said we were banned from for realtors anyway. You can't ban out, not realtors, but for realtors that we can't, negotiate in advertising, but there isn't something like that. But I keep telling the CAR, let's get something on there that says we can do it. But it's really that I just don't know that there's any way we can do it at this moment. That doesn't mean that it won't happen in the future, but I think I'm always embarrassed when I see someone advertising, you can sell your house for less than 2%. Well, what does that mean? So that's my side. And then what about the buy side? And then, we've got that whole problem with the seller, paying for the buyer's agent side. So we have to be careful about that. So it's really, it's a very sensitive issue. It's just, I think it's an embarrassment, and nobody on this panel today, I don't think would ever, I've never seen anyone on this panel advertise a discount brokerage fee. So I think there's more of us that don't do that, but there's a few that do. And if we lose those deals, yeah, there's more to come, because we already know what our value is. And like Sarah said very eloquently, is we know our value, we back into it, and we win every time. So we're not going to win every single time when we're dealing with Help You Sell, or what, I don't even think they're around anymore, but these these discount brokerages, we just have to know how to deal with them.
Yep. And those phone calls, I mean, I get it all the time, guys, in my industry, right? They go with the cheap guy, and I get those phone calls back. I should have went with you. I should have went with you. They suck every time I get them, right? But it happens. When the whole toilet paper shortage was going on, I said, do you want to use Charmin or single ply? You want to have a clean job, or you want to have crap when you're done? And it worked. It really worked.
Nice play on the pandemic, John.
I
Nice.
love it.
It did. I haven't been using it lately, but it's worked, right? With clients, and they go, oh, wow. And you got to almost instill that fear of what would happen into them, right? People buy more based off fear than they do joy, which is sad, but it's true. And so if you instill the fear of scenarios that have happened with a horrible agent that has done that, right?
Mhm.
Maybe they'll be more keen to buy.
Mhm.
John, Catherine has to hop off real quick, so I just want to make sure she knows how thankful we are that she came on today. Thank you, Catherine, so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having
We
me.
appreciate
I
you.
really appreciate you.
Yes, you are amazing. Really enjoyed meeting you on here today and all of your information. So thank you so much for joining us today. And you guys, I don't think I have anything else in the in the chat. Any other questions or anyone? There's no hands up either. So I guess I will close it out with saying thank you to the rest of our panelists today, Dylan, Sarah, and Nicole. Thank you so much for being on here today. You guys are incredible. Dylan and Nicole, your first few years of the industry, wow. Way to make a mark for yourself. It has been a pleasure. Dylan, it's great to meet you on here. I actually haven't met you in person yet, so thank you for joining us.
Great to meet you.
And yeah, thank you for coming. Sarah, thank you for coming and imparting your wisdom on us as well. We love having you on the panel, and I love seeing you in the community. We appreciate all of you so much. And like Marianne mentioned, we have recorded this today, so we'll post it if we can. If you want the link to it, please contact one of us. I know it'll go on my YouTube channel, so if you want to rewatch it and get some more tidbits that you may have missed, it'll be on my channel as well.
I'll also
And
just
Marianne
send
looks
out
like
the
she wants
recap.
to say anything. What?
Yeah, I'll also send out the recap email.
Perfect. So all the info will be on there too. So thank you guys so much for coming. We appreciate it. Have a great
Thank you all.
day.
Nice to
Bye,
meet you.
guys.